Hey guys, Elite Legionarii here, bringing you a 3 versus 3 for Medieval 2 Total War on the Grassy Plains map. I'm in command of the mighty forces of Spain. I'll be teaming up with Monlith, who very rarely comes on to Med 2, and he's Venice, which is his favourite faction if I recall, and the other fellow is Lastroman25, who's Egypt. We'll be facing Scotland under the command of Montgomery 321. He's featured in one of my Rome vids. Infinplusun, he's also featured in one of my Medieval 2 vids. The siege I did as the Holy Roman Empire. He's Portugal, I think. Portugal. And my opponent, who was actually a very tough opponent, Holy of the TW clan, I believe. So anyway, he goes to rush me. I use pikes to stall my line, and I'm going to use my Huddy's crossbow and cause much disruption. And I'm using a sort of Lavernica style infantry build of conquistadors and shipwreck knights. Over here, these Sars Guard are a match for my conquistadors, plus they sort of outpositioned me. But I reserved one of my cav units and I'm using it for hammer and anvil strikes, so I'm going to rout his infantry line quickly. I was banking on my cavalry being able to do enough damage to his that will nullify it, and my superior infantry being much stronger to hold out against his, which I think was a pretty good idea, because I mean, in terms of sheer infantry, there's little that can beat Spanish conquistadors, as I've proven in many other videos, and by freeing up some of my cav and risking my cav, it is a risky move because cav can devastate infantry, but I have pikes to shield my infantry. Plus, if I do enough damage to his cav, they won't be enough to do enough damage. Plus, as you can see, I've just mass routed his infantry corps completely, pretty much without taking any losses to my infantry at all. So that Spanish infantry is just kick-ass. Plus, now he's going to try and hit me up with his cav, but I've got my tertio pikes, the 3 of them, here to pin him, and now he's going to get shot up by my units of crossbow militia. So as you can see, his infantry's absolutely got creamed almost instantly. His cav, however, are extremely powerful. Sars Guard are some of the best cav in the game, and a match for conquistadors, mounted conquistadors. But by using my pikes to deter him, he's having a lot of trouble in dealing with my infantry, which is shielded. And once they get snagged up, my conquistadors can come in and just cream them. Plus, he's just, every time he tries getting in close, he's just getting loads of missile fire down on him. It's very chaotic. I don't have a lot of time to organise myself up here, but he's unable basically to get his cav, and as you can see, his infantry just can't make a dent in my conquistadors. They're just too strong. In my opinion, the only unit that really, the armour piercing trait is extremely helpful against conquistadors, but in my opinion, the only unit that really presents a big threat to them is Venetian heavy infantry, which can in a lot of ways beat them, but I still think very little else can touch them in terms of sheer infantry. As you can see, just his infantry, his cavalry, it's all getting pretty creamed. So he's got spearmen and cavalry in here. My conquistadors are easily handling both of them. They're just extremely good infantry. I think if you want a very, very powerful faction, Spain is a very good choice. In my opinion, probably the most powerful faction in the game. But Russia is also an extremely powerful faction, and you should never underestimate it. But as you can see, I'm just sort of swamping him now with my conquistadors, and getting into his cav, which no longer got any run, and every time they try and pull out, they just get shredded by crossbow fire. So Monlith, however, gets routed, and you might have noticed at the start there, he had no protection against the enemy cav. He just got flat charged in his infantry, and they just pretty much got wasted, and he just pulled his cav out. He's got some of his cav left, but Portugal pretty easily handles him, to be honest, due most in part to the fact that this is why you need to have a meat shield to counter that. A Medieval 2 player knows, or at least a reasonably experienced one, knows how powerful cav are in Medieval 2. Out of all the Total War games I've played, Medieval 2 fields the strongest cavalry to infantry ratio. and you don't want to let your heavy infantry get exposed to cavalry if possible. I was able to shield mine with my pikes. Monlith had no shield against it, and he got pretty creamed by them. And the reason being, which is, you'll see in my other videos, why I often bring a couple of peasants or some spear militia or something, just to be in front of my infantry, so if someone tries that, they will they'll hit all the crappy cannon fodder units, and then your infantry can come in and hit them while they're stationary. Over here, Montgomery breaks through Egypt as well. I didn't really catch any of that fight, but looks like it was pretty close, but he's going to come out on top of that one, so it really means I'm the only one who's actually won. But I won pretty well, I thought. My infantry's still pretty strong. I don't have a lot of cavalry left though. I only have one of my chivalric knights. And I believe I had 3 conquistadors and 2 chivalric knights, and my infantry was, I believe it was 2 chivalric knights and 4 conquistadors. But my infantry, as you can see, has come off very well. But it's looking pretty bleak now, considering that my opponent down here has still got conquistadors as well, and in good numbers. And then of course there's Montgomery's army as well, which is still enough to be a threat. So I don't think I can win this. But I've got Monlith survivor, some of his cav, but it's just not going to be enough to provide a lot of support. So anyway, I'm going to form up here. And I'll just triple speed. Until things get moving. So there's still some Russian units out here, but Monlith's going to deal with them because I need to be focusing on these 2. And I see them breaking apart. And I thought to myself, well, here's an opportunity to knock out Scotland. Because Scotland being the weakest out of the 2, I believe I could easily cut through them with my army. But as long as Portugal doesn't get in there too quickly. So anyway, we're just waiting for the opportune moment. I just want them to get quite, as you can see, they're getting further and further apart. And I can understand what they're doing. I think they actually want to pin me down and then come to outflank me. It's pretty obvious, but I thought to myself, Scotland is weakest and my army shouldn't have too much difficulty in actually cutting straight through it before Portugal can help. But I don't believe I noticed that Portugal had so many cav left at the time, so I do actually make a bit of a blunder here, and don't take very good notice of them. And I do manage to destroy most of his cav, but unfortunately this means that Portugal's going to have time to get into them, which is not what I had in mind. I was hoping to knock Scotland aside quickly enough. But if it would be good if Monlith had stopped some of these cav, because it's all out here and I don't have any cav options, and he's sort of just over here. That or he flat charged some of this infantry here, and he could have destroyed them or thinned them out a great deal with cavalry charges. But he's pretty unfamiliar, although there is Russia out here too, so he's probably keeping an eye on them. But he's pretty unfamiliar with the mechanics of Med too, I think. Hasn't played a lot of it. So I'm actually hoping to use this conquistadors to slow down a lot of his men. I'm just going to try and stall him here if I can. And I'm going to try and outposition his infantry here, and unfortunately I don't do it very well. But I am pouring in a lot of fire here, and his infantry, again, it won't cut it against mine. But with Portugal right on my back like this, I have pretty limited options, and I have to divide my forces.
Only half our force remains.
And he does have a lot more men on to me here, so it is going more even. But I'm going to try and outflank him here with some of my puppies, my puppies crossbowmen, and I'm going to pin a lot of these guys down here. And my guys hold in there for a long time. It would have been good now if Monlith had actually punched into the Scottish army here, which I think he was trying to do, because then I would have been freed up to go and fight Portugal, because Portugal would definitely require more infantry. He does actually do this, and he does it reasonably well, but by this point a lot of my men are starting to break apart, I think. And I am getting behind both their lines to try and shoot them with arrows here and do as much as I can, but there's just sort of too much going on. And Probably didn't use the best tactics there, and here I get hit by some of these border horses, and a very good strike by Montgomery.
The Allies have fled the field. They cannot be called true men.
This, in my opinion, is a testament to Spanish strength. This faction just holds in and holds in and holds in. It really is a very, very excellent faction, in my opinion. I still think it's the strongest faction in the game. Others might disagree with me, but I still think Spain is the strongest faction in the game. If you go like by all period standards, in the early period it's not very good. It's average in the high, but it's pretty damn good in the late. And on all, obviously, you can just have access to everything, so it's extremely good there. But I do not go down without a fight. I do make it challenging for both Scotland and Portugal. But that's pretty much it, guys. We are defeated this time, but look at these, my conquistadors are holding in, just holding in. They're just real badasses, those guys.
The course of this battle changes because
Some nice close-ups.
almost certain.
And look at them just fighting to the death, and they're still getting it balanced at a couple of points there, so that was pretty sweet. But they finally do break, just sheer weight of numbers coming down on them there. But that can sometimes happen when you're in like a 3v3. If you win but your opponents lose, your allies lose rather, it leaves you with a lot to handle on your own. But it's vital that you protect your infantry from cavalry in Medieval 2, because if you don't, or heavy cavalry, even light cav can do it too, but more's the point is heavy cavalry. But if you don't protect them, the chances of suffering heavy losses can be very high. And as you can see, Monlith died pretty quickly because I don't think he protected his frontal infantry line with a meat shield.
But they have not won this war.
It's not like Rome. That wouldn't work in Rome, but Medieval 2 cavalry are a lot more powerful. So it's an average defeat. I come up with the most kills. I had 1,086 men, and I had 1,001 kills and 248, so it's 1,249, so I was pretty pleased with myself. Monlith had 861, he got 727 kills and 35, so about 750, and Lastroman had 901 men, he got 661 and 45, so I felt our team actually did more. Well, their armies were bigger than ours. Let's see, for the most part they were. Montgomery had 1,051, Infin had 1,106, and Holy had 1,076. And as you can see, here's their stats. So Montgomery did really well. He got really over 1,000 with all that calculated together, and his allies did support him pretty well in their efforts. But a couple of my cav got caught in bad positions and angles, so that's why those two didn't do very well. But this one did very good when it got a chance. My Chivalric Knights, this one didn't do great, but this one did good. Got a few captures too, actually. So the Tertio Pikes, they were really helpful. As you can see, look, 75, 63, pretty good for pikes. And plus they deterred a lot of his cav, so banking on that worked well. And the crossbowmen are pretty good. I think it's kind of cool that with Spain you got the choice of Pubby's crossbowmen or musketeers. Pubby's crossbowmen are very tough. They can hold in there for a very long time. And most of their casualties came from cav. And then as you can see, dismounted conquistadors, none of them, not one of them underperformed. All of them 113, 87, 78, 53, and then I believe their captures as well. Some of them captured a few. This one got 43, 23. The dismounted Chivalric Knights 93, 36. All my infantry did really well. Spain with the conquistadors just extremely powerful infantry wise, but mounted conquistadors are extremely powerful as well. All in all, a very good faction. If you want a faction that it's reliable, easy to use, very powerful, Spain is an excellent choice. There are others too. Venice, Russia's good. Portugal's very much like Spain. I still think Spain's slightly better than Portugal, but they're very much similar. But anyway, guys, I do hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you soon next time.